Hello and welcome to Link Ahead, the City of Dublin podcast. Veterans Day is coming up soon, Saturday, November 11th, and since it falls on a Saturday this year, the federal observation will be Friday the 10th.
Now, Dublin has a long tradition of honoring and learning from our local veterans, and we certainly want to do that with today's episode. So please welcome U.S. Navy veteran and member of Dublin's Veterans Committee, Steve Dickman. Steve, thanks for joining us on Link Ahead.
Hey, thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. Well, Steve, this is an obvious question. What does Veterans Day mean to you?
It means a lot to me. It reminds me of the camaraderie and my friends, and serving, doing something that's bigger than myself. And I think back when I initially, thought about enlisting, how I just simply wanted to do something that, my family could be proud of.
Sure.
And just remembering all the things that I got to do and be a part of it. Just, I don't know, it's nice to think. And I wish, I think about all my friends and going on a trip and seeing them, going over to Philadelphia where a lot of them live now and seeing their kids and all that sort of thing. So it's just it reminds me of the family that I had.
Well, let's talk about our Veterans Day ceremony on the 10th. The location is at the Grounds of Remembrance in Dublin Veterans Park. Weather permitting, of course, we always have a rain backup. But tell us a little bit about this event.
So this event, I'm excited. This year is the first year I actually get to attend due to my occupation. I've always worked in the schools. Wow. And it's always hard to kind of get away.
Sure.
So this year, I'm really excited. Just another way for us to, take a moment and just simply, honor the sacrifice and just everything that it means to serve. And not only that, I think the biggest thing is education. Working in schools and realizing, that kids need to learn these things, and they're not going to learn it unless we show. I actually get to have my Air Force Junior ROTC program at Westland High School. They're joining us, and they're not from Dublin, but we're Americans, and they get to see what those kids, what it means to them too. So it's just a really good community event.
That'll be really special to have them there. And you mentioned Dublin City Schools are always really involved with that event as well. So it's always good to see the kids there.
Absolutely.
You do so much for our city, and let's begin with your work on the Dublin Veterans Committee. It's 10 community members who are appointed by City Council. So tell us more about the makeup of the committee and what goes on with the Veterans Committee.
There's 10 of us on the committee, and they try to balance it with the different branches. But at the end of the day, everybody, we're all on the same team. So,
Is there any rival type?
Yeah, there's a little bit of trash talking.
Okay. trash talking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The Marines are Navy's little brother.
I love it.
I'm sorry. But yeah, it's just an opportunity. My wife, who is from Dublin, actually, looking at the website and everything, brought it to my attention. And she said, I think this is something that you would be really good at. It would be good for you. And I would say that it has been. It's just another opportunity to do something for other people. It kind of gives me that void of when you get out. I think everybody kind of goes through that void of not being around the things that you really enjoy. You don't get to see my friends anymore that I served with, and now I'm making some new friends on the committee. Trying to make Dublin a place where it's inviting for people to move to. If a veteran's getting out of the service, and heard great things about Dublin, and or maybe other cities can see what we're doing and can do the similar things for the veterans. So I think it's just a great opportunity. We're doing some cool things, and looking forward to in the next couple of years serving on the committee.
Well, and I don't want to stereotype, but when you think of a veteran, you think of a mature person. That's not that you're not a mature person, but I'm trying to say this as gracefully as possible. You are somebody that I think when you think of a veteran, you think of somebody that served in World War II, and it's great that it's someone your age that, kids can relate to because you're closer in age to them, and they're like, wow, he's a veteran?
I appreciate that. I think I'll take that as a compliment. No, I think that's the other thing, some of the members on the committee, they're I'll just say they're older than me. And,
Are you the youngest one on the committee?
They're still spry, and they're good people, but they're part of the different generation.
Sure.
And and you think back of the last 20-something years, and with the wars and all that stuff going on in the world today, there are a lot of people younger generation, younger than me, who haven't been infected their own little way, who no matter what generation you're from, I think there's just a respect, that perspective that we all share, and it just comes down to a teamwork, camaraderie, helping each other out.
Well, you mentioned Dublin and our commitment to veterans. A couple of years ago, we were named a Purple Heart City, so it really is a priority for the city. And kudos to your wife for encouraging you to join the committee, and glad that you're doing that. So how long do you and your fellow members serve on the committee?
So it's a 2-year commitment. We have to attend the meetings regularly. So there's a commitment piece. And then it's reevaluated after that 2-year term. And if good things are happening and you're still there and we're doing great work but it's nice to get a fresh perspective too, which is why the 2-year thing is there. So, we get some other people come in and want to be a part of it. I think that's a great idea.
What I like about, really, Dublin is always out ahead in whatever we do. So I know it's not just Memorial Day and Veterans Day. You guys are looking at bigger, holistic things. So can you tell our listeners about the new Veterans Card that we're offering?
Yeah, so there was a lot of work. I'm relatively new to the committee. There was a lot of work done to get the appreciation card. Right now, with the appreciation card, you can get 25% off on Abbey Theater tickets here at the Rec Center, which is a nice little perk.
Yeah, that's great.
My family loves the pools, so there's 5 free pool passes.
Nice.
Daily passes, I should say. Along with that, the memorial tournament. It's a big thing here. So the memorial tournament is there's a lottery. So whenever you get registered for the card, you can automatically get put into a lottery to, I think it's 2 tickets to the memorial tournament, which is kind of a fun day when the weather's permitting,
So you said you're relatively new to the committee, but they're putting you to work. So I think I saw you in a video where you were talking about that veterans card. Is that right?
Yes.
Well, we have to plug the video. So
Absolutely.
A really nice job just kind of communicating that card for everyone. And we're glad that the city's able to offer that.
And there's more to come. So the goal ultimately is to get more businesses and, more people who want to show their appreciation to get tied to the card.
Yeah.
So if you show the card, you can get some perks.
Awesome.
So
Let's also talk about your work with schools. You were with Dublin City Schools for 15 years. You're an assistant principal. You have worn many hats. Tell us a little bit about that work for you.
So when I got out of the military, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. Met with my grandma. She was a teacher, and she was a special educator. And she just said, find something where you can help other people. And because I really appreciated grandma, I think, I'm going to follow in her footsteps. So went to Ohio State. During that time, my daughter was born premature, and I almost got out of education. So I'm glad I stayed in, because the student I was working with at the time ends up having the same situation that my daughter has today. Wow. And he taught me a lot. So I stayed in. And it's been a very rewarding decision. So, working in special education, working with people who have some different perspectives and challenges, really helped me out as just a human being. And then I want to help other people. And I got into administration. I left Dublin after 15 years, went over to Reynoldsburg City Schools for 3 years. And, I really enjoyed my opportunities that I got there as an administrator. And it ultimately has allowed me to help more people, I feel, help teachers, help more kids. I stayed very busy. And then I moved over to Southwest City Schools. I'm at Westland High School, which is the Air Force ROTC program that's coming to the veteran ceremony, and just trying to stay active.
Steve, you were born in Northwest Ohio. So before you got to Ohio State, tell us about your upbringing.
So I grew up in a small town, Fort Jennings. There, and if you look, I always look at the school system. There's probably about 400 or 500 kids, K through 12. Very, very small.
Yeah.
I had a big class. It was 42. The average class size up there is like 17. But everybody knows your name in a small town, and we all look out for each other and take care of each other. And I grew up in a big family, 5 siblings. We're all like a year and a half, 2 years apart. And I was blessed with wonderful parents who worked hard, and I got to see them working hard for us. Learned about sacrifice, but I goofed around in school a lot, and I got in my fair share of trouble. But I just learned the core values of just being a good human being and being a good person, and sticking to that. Ultimately that's what it's about.
So what led you to joining the Navy?
I think at the end of the day, I just wanted I wanted to do something that my family could be proud of. When I was in school, everybody was running off to college, and I just wasn't ready to do any sort of more school. I ended up finding more school. It was just a little different. I think that's it. I think we all want somebody to be proud of us. And, I heard stories about my grandpa, who I never got to meet, and my uncles and my great-grandpa. And I always saw the chest that my grandma had with pictures, and she had my grandpa's uniform all folded up nice and neat. And I just saw how much it meant to them. And saw a Navy flyer one day. I was like, you know what? I'm going to call this guy.
Wow. That's a compelling flyer.
Yeah. It was, great marketing. There's some really nice pictures. And so I called him, and then, I just want to do something I could be proud of.
Nice. So. All right. So we have to spend some time here talking about your time aboard the USS Toledo. How did a guy from Ohio get to serve on the Toledo?
It worked out nicely.
It did, and the Toledo's not too far from where I grew up too, so it was kind of a neat little thing. So after school, when you're going through all your submarine schooling, the top, whatever, get a pick. And I was given a choice to pick either the Columbus or the Toledo. So nothing against Columbus.
That's fine.
Columbus was in, people think I'm an idiot for this, but Columbus was in Pearl Harbor, and I had a chance to go to Hawaii, but being a family guy, I thought, I don't want to go that far away from home.
Sure. I'm
going to take Toledo, which is in Connecticut, and it's hard to get home from Hawaii if you ever ask anybody.
Kidding.
So, I lucked out. Toledo was a relatively new boat at the time, and had a pretty good crew, and got to do some cool things on it.
So getting ready for this, I read a story about submarine life titled Cramped, Isolated, and Heavily Armed. What life is like on a submarine. Does that kind of describe it?
Yes. Yes. It's, I would say, imagine, 140 guys walking through a motorhome.
Oh my gosh.
And everybody's trying to find a place to sleep. It's very cramped. I think about when one of my first beds, my bunk, was in the torpedo room, and because there's not enough beds, so they make beds. And the torpedo room wasn't bad though, because some of the places we went to, like in the Caribbean, were warm, but anyhow, the tomahawks and the torpedoes were right next to our bed, so you just snuggle up to a nice little cold torpedo, and it helps you cool down.
Not everybody gets to say that.
Right. Now, just to be eligible for service on a sub, you have to pass a series of grueling tests, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of testing going on. You start off with a lot of psychological testing, but they don't want to put you down there and
we wouldn't pass.
Lose your minds. Claustrophobia, you go down the hatch, and you got to be able to take in the cramped lifestyle. Yeah. But the biggest things are like being able to do things under pressure, like putting out fires and flooding. If you have flooding, you got to be able to take care of it quickly. Fires, you got to be able to put it out in under a minute. And then beyond that, there's a lot of technical training. I spent a lot of time learning how to be a mechanic, basically, diesel mechanics and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of school, a lot of testing.
Sure.
So the Toledo is a Los Angeles class nuclear powered fast attack sub. The description seems pretty self-explanatory, but can you tell us more about that, like this sub and this class of subs?
So the fast attack piece, it's more like our schedule, right? So if there's stuff going on, we were quickly, asked to leave port. And it's smaller than the bigger Tridents, much more maneuverable. I guess I don't know if there's really, if you compare a Ferrari to a school bus, I think that's the best way to.
There's our headline.
Oh, yeah. Ferrari versus school bus.
So we did a lot more close quarters type thing, getting close to things, and Tridents are a little bigger. It's harder for them to do that.
So let's also recognize what is a gem to all of Ohio and the country, and that is the National Veterans Memorial and Museum in downtown Columbus. What a place. I'm sure you've been there. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, actually, went down there not too long ago with my family. It's an educational experience. It's they had the bags of my son got to put on the rucksacks and and just reading the stories and just seeing how things have changed through the years. And they always make the comment, people make the comment, I should say, the greatest generation, and which is true. They were a very brave young generation who did a lot of amazing things for everyone else. But it also, looking at the things down there, it reminds you of, we have a great generation here too, right? It comes down to our choices, and there's some young people doing some amazing things now, and it really honors that. It's just a really beautiful place. They've done a nice job.
So, I mean, you can deal with stress, obviously, because I can't imagine that not being a stressful situation. So you've talked about wanting to create a stress-free environment for students. What stressors do young people face today that those of us with gray or a lot of gray hair didn't face back in the day?
I think we all had stress back then. The biggest thing that I noticed is that it's harder for kids these days that I sound like an old person. Kids these days. That the way information travels, it's hard for them to regulate because social media and just all the different media outlets and trying to decipher all that and watching how the adults interact and that is something I always try to think about when I'm working with my own kids, to help them navigate that. But at the end of the day, there's no making anything stress-free. I think it's more about how we choose to react to stress. There's no getting rid of stress. We have good stress, bad stress, but how do you handle those difficult moments? And I think that was one thing. I was a little hothead and played soccer and all that when I was back in high school, and the military taught me just to slow my roll a little bit, cool down, and think methodically and control your breathing and handle stressful situations. So I've kind of taken that skill into what I do now. So
you just talked about soccer, but you also run, right? And you kind of run for a cause. Can you tell us about that?
So I did a lot of work with the Nationwide Children's. When my daughter was younger, we really went and did a lot. We did a lot of running, and trained for some half marathons. We started out with doing some marathons, and we raised a lot of money for Nationwide Children's. She finished the races with me. It was a good time. It got her. She was asked to help with a fundraiser for a clothing company here in town, and they raised, I think, like $1.5 million to help the hospital, and we continued it on for a few years. When I got into administration, I got to think about how I'm going to schedule that in, because I really did enjoy it. She was actually asking me a few months ago, because I haven't ran in a little bit. I need to get back out there, I'm going to be honest with you, to get back out there because she enjoys it. And, it's a good time for dad and daughter to get outside and enjoy the fresh air.
Okay, Steve, from getting multiple college degrees to staying underwater for months at a time, our closing segment of rapid fire questions will be a breeze for you. So let's jump in.
All right. The LA class of subs was named after American cities and some towns. How many can you name?
All right. Here we go. Toledo.
I knew that one.
Columbus, Greenville, Columbia, Santa Fe, Albuquerque, I said Columbia. City of Corpus Christi, San Juan, Montpelier, Augusta. Now I'm getting too many and I'm forgetting which ones I
That's
already.
okay. I ran out of fingers, so I was counting along with you, but that's
There's
amazing.
a lot of them.
This system of naming also broke the Navy's long-standing tradition of naming attack submarines for...
So they used to name them after sea creatures or just people, famous people who had some influence on things in the world today.
So was there a mermaid driving around?
USS Mermaid would have been a great name for the boat.
And color Ariel.
Yes.
Deepest you've ever been in the ocean on the Toledo?
I can either confirm nor deny.
Oh, okay.
I would say, we'll put 800 feet or more.
Wow.
Okay. All right. Military members get to see the world. Do you have a favorite city or country that was part of your military career?
No, I don't like to compare different places because I think everything is just how you view it. I loved Norway. Coming out of the hatch and seeing the Lord of the Rings cliffs was amazing. Scotland was great. It was just really nice because you get to meet all the local people. Scotland was nice because I could actually, do the math on the money piece. And you go into some other countries, you're spending more money than you need to be.
It's true.
Hard to keep track, but
I just went to Japan and everything was like 40,000 yen. I'm like, I have no idea what that means.
Exactly. That's too many zeros. But yeah, I think everything, I enjoyed everywhere I went. Just meeting the people, the local people, and it's really good. I loved it.
All right, bringing it back home. What's your favorite running route in Dublin?
So I live close to Kaufman High School, and so I enjoy the Emerald Parkway.
You enjoy the Emerald Parkway Hill?
So I enjoy going down and go down the hill. You run through the new Bridge Park area, and the new bridge is wonderful. Kind of lose my balance when I'm going across there. So.
Yeah.
And then
suspension will get you.
Cut through the grounds of remembrance right there, where you can go next to Indian Run Falls.
Yeah.
Just through the woods there for a little bit, and then kind of back through the toy barn and back home.
Forgot we're talking to a marathoner over here. That's a long route.
Yeah, that's right. I was like doing the math in my head. I'm like, come on.
Like 6 miles, I think.
Wow. Does your lovable Labrador Retriever Sawyer go with you?
He's 11 years old now. I think he would not like to go for a ride. He likes nice slow walks and sniffs through Hemingway Village. But yeah, when he was younger, we would go on little runs, 4 miles and 3 miles, and that was enough for a Labrador.
Favorite place to eat after a good run?
I love food in general. I think the Kitchen Social down. Kitchen Social plug. No, Kitchen Social is delicious. There's a lot of great places down in the Bridge Park. So I love tacos.
I love tacos.
Pasta's a little heavy now, and I'm in my 40s. I can't really eat a whole lot of pasta. But sandwiches, anything just wholesome and delicious.
For you, a perfect Veterans Day is
being able to have moments of just stillness and calm and being able to think about what it's all about. And I'll just say that is nice when you get to go out and get a free meal here and there.
Well,
nice.
You have earned it. Steve, thank you for your military service and your continued service to our community, and thank you for joining Link Ahead.
I appreciate you inviting me. Thank you.
And to our listeners, thank you as well for taking the time to connect with your city. Tune in next time as we continue to explore the many personalities and experiences that make Dublin a thriving place to live, work, and grow.